Hello and welcome to the Dyson Dudes. Having a little audio difficulties right now, but hopefully that got it fixed. Okay, cool. I am being told that we are good to go. So let's go ahead and let's get this done. All right, let me get myself set up here. Sorry, give me 1 minute. Alrighty. Sorry about this. Was hoping to have all this stuff ready to go already, but we ran into some problems. Sorry about that. It is going to be just me today. Okay, cool. I need to make sure I can see myself. Okay. All right. So, sorry. Let me go ahead and start over. Welcome to Dyson Dudes. Today, I will be your host for a few different streams. 2 definitely, maybe 3. I might be able to fit in a 3rd one today. We'll see how it goes. We typically don't like to do this, but it's going to be the only real day that I've had over the last couple of days in order to stream anything, to get any content out. So I wanted to try to get as much content out as I could today. The only downside is that today I am alone. It is just going to be me. So I'm going to try to power through as much as I can and get through as much of the content as I can. But today, the dudes, or dude, we'll call it dudes. The dudes are going to play and review this year's winner of the Kennerspiel De Jahres, Paleo. Now, those of you who don't know what the Kennerspiel De Jahres is, it is a German award that they give out every year. They give out the Spiel de Jahres, the Kennerspiel De Jahres, and the Kinderspiel De Jahres. The Spiel de Jahres is like the overall best board game of the year. The Kennerspiel De Jahres is the more like heavier adult-oriented style game, not really meant for kids. And then the Kinderspiel De Jahres is the best kids game of the year. Now this bad boy actually went out over one of my current favorite titles, The Lost Ruins of Arnak. I've owned this title for a while. I gotta say I haven't played it as much as Lost Ruins. In my opinion, Lost Ruins should have been the winner of the prestigious award, but it wasn't, and that's okay. So Paleo won, and I want to go ahead and give you guys an idea of what it is and why it won. Because while I may be biased and I like the game that I like, I own this game. So I obviously really like it. Because if you've been watching the channel for a while, a game has to be at the very least a B+ in order for it to have a home on my shelf. And while I won't talk about scores yet, I will go ahead and talk about a score of this one later on in the video. So what I'm going to do for you today is I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to show you and make sure everything's looking good. Sorry, I do have to control the cameras and everything. I am going to make sure that everything looks okay. Okay, cool. So everything's looking all right. So I'm going to go ahead and try to get my bald head out of the shot and going to talk to you about the overall structure of the game. So this game here is a completely cooperative card-driven game. It is at its heart a survival game. So it is going to be a harder game. You are going to be losing a lot along the lines of like Pandemic and Robinson Crusoe, Spirit Island, games like that, but without the complexity level. The overall rules to the game are quite simple themselves, but the game can be very, very hard in order to win, which does give it quite a bit of replayability. What gives it more replayability is the fact that there are several different modules within the box that you actually combine together and you create scenarios that way. There are, I believe, 10 scenarios that you will go through with created decks. Maybe 12. I'll have to double check. Well, that's too far away. But there's 10 to 12 created scenarios, and then you can create your own scenarios by mixing them together. And there's actually rules in the book for how you can mix everything together to create your own scenarios, so it offers it even more replayability. Okay, so let's go ahead and get into this. So over here, this is where we're going to have our artifacts for the scenario that we're going to be doing, which is the first scenario that I have set up here. Is the only technology we currently have besides the starter technologies of torch, rock, and spear is the tent. So I will show this up to the camera a bit. So this technology here will actually start in play. So as soon as we collect what we need to build it, which is going to be, we need 2 crafting, 2 crafters or 2 crafter skill, 2 wood, and then 2 animal furs, and then we can create the tent. We could also find the tent mixed into other parts. Okay. Now for this one, we actually are doing scenario A and B, and we've combined those together with the deck 1 of cards to create the full deck. Now this would be the full deck. I do already have it set out, so that way we can start playing the game. The way that you do it is you're going to build the deck, and each round you're going to deal the deck out to each of the players, and this plays from 2 to 4 players, so I'll be running 2 players today. But you will deal the deck out until it's completely empty, and everyone has their stack of cards. You don't shuffle it, you just leave it as it sits, and that is going to be how you're going to play. That is, how you're going to be drawing off the deck. So let me go and move that guy out of the way. So I already have that done. So this is all of the collected cards. If you look over here, this is where we have our new like survivor cards, our new caveman cards. We have our dream cards. We have our crafting cards. Over here, you can see that we have this handy dandy little guide. So it can show us, like looking at the back of this card, this is a river card. I can look over here and see that the river can give me food, and it can give me furs. Like that is a high probability that will happen in the river. So I can decide whether or not I want to keep going, which obviously I do at the beginning of the game, but I can decide if I want to flip that card or if I want to retire because I don't like the look of the cards that I have left. Over here in the forest, we can get wood and food, which is very good. Over here in the middle, this is where we're actually going to be discarding our cards. We're not using these 4 slots for this particular game, but other scenarios will have various cards in here that will do various things. Not going to get into that. I'll let you discover that for yourself. But on this side is where I'll place the face down cards, which you'll see why in a minute, and face up cards here. Over here is like the end of day stuff and how I win the game. And sorry if I still have my head in the picture. Trying to keep my head out of it if I can. Let me try to see if I can adjust that real quick. Give me 1 second. I'm going to switch over to the player view, and we'll see if we can fix that. So you guys get to see me try to fix my camera real quick. So that's just the way that's going to have to be. Sorry I hate dead air, but this is what happens when I'm all by my own. So teamwork makes the dream work. Remember that. Remember that. Okay, so that should be a bit better. Hopefully you guys won't have to stare at my bald head the entire time. Let's see if I can't really do it any better than that, then that's just the way we're going to have to be. But over here you will see that we have hey, yeah, it looks better. Okay, so over here we do have like the end of round, end of game stuff. So in order to win the game, we need to get 5 of these mammoth tokens, and they will look like that's the first one, then the second one. Well, actually, sorry, that's the first one. Then the second one, then the third one, then the fourth one, then the 5th one. So when we get all of these, we win the game. The skulls here, there's 5 of them, and if we get all 5 skulls, we've lost the game. So these will actually go up here in this section, starting up there, and the skulls will go here in this section. But we won't need to worry about those right now until we start really losing or really winning. So I'll go ahead and move these off the board real quick. We have, as part of this scenario, 2 scenario cards. We have scenario card number 1 and scenario card number 2. This will be different depending on the scenario that you play, but you simply stack those right there, and we deal with those cards if and when we decide to take those actions. Over here we have our end of turn actions. So at night we have to feed everybody. Everybody does have to eat. This is like Agricola style. So everybody's got to eat, or we do gain a skull for each person who doesn't eat. So very quick and easy way to lose the game is to not be able to feed your people. So you don't want to have too big of a tribe, or else you just can't feed enough. Over here we have a new world scenario card. So on this one we have to either have a tent, and if we don't have a tent, we gain a skull. And bountiful prey, we have to spend 3 food and a fur, or we're going to gain a skull. So in all, we're going to need to be able to feed each of our people plus 3 food, plus 1 tent, plus 1 fur. If we can't do that, we're going to be taking skulls and we're going to lose the game very quickly. Now, at the beginning of each game, each player is going to get 2 various cards here for your survivors. Player 1 on my left over here is going to have the Hunter and Inventor. I'll bring these a little bit closer so you guys can see. So the Hunter here, he actually has a spear symbol. Then this one actually comes with a rope, but he can only take 1 wound. The next wound will kill him. This one here is an Inventor, and same thing. I'm getting a torch. I have a builder symbol, and I can take 1 wound before I die as well, or 2 wounds before I die. And then over on this one, they have the warrior and the scout. So this is the symbol for scouting, for like vision, and both of these can take 3 wounds take 3 wounds to kill them, but they don't have any starter equipment here. So the rope can I can discard it, and it can be any one symbol of the regular symbols, either the spear, the hammers, or the eye, and the torch I can discard for the eye. So there is that. Oh, okay, so as I've kind of alluded to, we're going to each be drawing a card, and then we're going to be seeing how we deal with these cards. I'm not going to show you all the cards. I'm kind of just going to play a full round to give you guys an idea of how the game plays, and then we can go through and we can talk about other things that can happen in the game and other situations you can run into. And then finally, I'll go ahead and give you my thoughts on how I feel about the game, and then we'll be closing this video down for today's session. Now, sorry if we're not doing all the transitions and everything today, obviously, because it is just me. But I will try to remember to go back to where it's just me when I talk about things that don't require the board. But let's go ahead and let's start turn number 1 of Paleo. So player 1 over here on my left and player 2 on my right, they're each going to go ahead, take the top card off their deck, and they're going to reveal it. Okay, so we have to deal with the bison carcass and the trees. Okay, now, if you look here, this option here is if I have 2 hammers, I can discard 2 cards face down to gain 3 wood. Or I can discard 2 cards to gain 1 wood. Or this bottom action here is to help one of the other groups, okay? This bison carcass here, I can spend 2 cards to exile this card forever, so it'll be gone from our game that we're playing now, and gain a food and a fur. Or I can help the other person. Now, the warrior and scout do not have the requisite skills, sadly, so they will have to decide to either help us, which doesn't really matter. We don't need any of their skills. So they could simply discard 2 cards for a wood, while I can discard 2 cards to get a food and a fur. So we're actually going to go ahead and do that. So one of the things to know is that when you discard, you're going to discard face down onto here. So we discard 2 of those, and then we would gain the 1 wood. Now, we start out the game with 5 food already in storage, but we have no wood and no stone in storage. So right now, we have 1 wood, and that one is done. And now the first player can go ahead and discard his 2 cards. Now, he could decide that since he sees he can go to camp, that's what this card means, is going to camp. He could decide that he doesn't want to discard it, so that way he can just go, he can say, nah, I want to go to camp next turn, I don't want to discard the card. You don't have to. But you work together with the other players to make the decisions that you think are right. And right now, I think having a fur and a food is actually not a bad idea. So we're going to go ahead and discard that one. And then these 2 cards as well will be discarded there. Okay, so now we're going to gain a food and then a fur. Now, as a group, you hold items, so I'll simply add this to the group. If they had helped me, you split stuff evenly, and if there's an odd split, you can decide which group gets the stuff. Here's the really important part, though. With these cards, if player 2 helped player 1, player 1 has to discard the 2 cards face down. Player 2 cannot do that for them. That means when you run out of cards, no one can help you complete your action. You're just simply out of cards. Okay. So that's a typical round for that. We're going to go ahead and we're going to go through until we finish this entire day, and I will be talking about the cards as they come up. So let's do it. So Next turn is going to be real bad. So we have trees again, and we have the wild boar. Now the wild boar is interesting, see, because we have we need 3 spears here. I have 1 spear in this group, 1 spear in this group. But this group has the rope, which we could discard to give us a spear. If we do that, we would actually gain, this bison card is actually in there. That handy dandy little carrier for any cards that are exiled, okay? This wild boar, we could kill it, or we could try to go for the wood. We both know that if we discard these cards, we're gonna have to take a wound. Whenever you discard one of these red cards, you have to take a wound in order to discard it. So that hurts, but if we help them, we could actually say no to their wound by doing this, but then we'll have to take our trap card next time. So what we're gonna do for this time is this group is going to go ahead and help out this group. So we're not going to do trees. We're simply going to assist them. We're going to get rid of our rope to give us a second spear symbol. So we have our 3 spear symbols now. So now they're going to discard 2 cards. 1, 2. They did discard a trap card, so they're going to have to take 1 wound and place it on 1 person. So they'll place it here on the warrior, because that's what warriors do. So now we will end up exiling this card, but we're going to gain 3 food. And we're going to gain a fur. Now, we're going to go ahead and have them gain the fur because, well, now that he's taken a wound, it'd be nice for both groups to at least have 1 fur and damage mitigation to be kind of spread out, okay? So we'll get rid of the wild boar. And, okay, not bad, not too bad. But now the hunter and inventor may run into some problems. So let's see what happens here. And we have the dodo, and we have a snake. So the problem with the snake is we can't actually do this one. See, the snake is a red card. See, it has the exclamation point, which means it's a trap, okay? And sorry, I look funny because I'm making sure I'm on screen here, but sorry about that. But it takes 3 eyes. We can discard 2 cards to exile this card, and then add a dream card to the top of the deck over here, okay? Which would be really good. Adding dream cards is really, really nice. Or we have to take 2 wounds. So that really hurts, especially since while they could help us with the trap, they have nothing to help us with. So we're better off at this point just going, we're going to have to take the 2 wounds here. So we'll discard this guy to mitigate 1 of those wounds. And then the hunter over here is going to have to take a wound. So this guy stays in play. So we can run into him tomorrow, which is really bad if we run into him multiple days because 2 wounds is a lot. So they're going to focus on the dodo. They have their 1 spear. They get rid of 2 cards. And, ooh, do they want to? Yeah, it's still 2 food, so they want to get rid of it. Oh, that hurt. So both of these TP cards are going to be gone, so we'll put those there. The dodo is going to be gone out of the game, and we will add 2 more food to the board. Okay, so things are looking kind of grim, but it's all right. We're both going to be going to camp. All right, so now we haven't seen these symbols yet, okay? So we're at home, all right? And if you look here at home at the very top here, this has the like hand clutching the rock symbol. That is the crafting symbol. That means we could craft any of the items that we've discovered. For this one, we start with the tent and the 3 starter items, the torch, the stone, and the spear. So we could make a torch because we have a single wood here, but we could each also gain, if we have 1 or 2 people, a new person without having to spend food. If you have 3 or more people, then you have to spend a food to gain a 4th person. So I think at this point, we're going to go ahead and have these guys make a torch, and these guys are going to go ahead and get another person. So we'll go ahead and discard both of these. No reason to help each other with this. So this torch will be gone, or that wood will be gone. They're going to gain a torch. And then group number 1 is going to gain a guardian. Very nice. So we have a bullet sponge here. So this guy takes 5 wounds to kill, but he offers us no other abilities. So basically, he's just there to soak up hits. And we're perfectly fine with that because we're probably going to be taking a lot of hits. Okay. So now move on to the next turn. So these guys definitely have some kind of obstacle while they have a mammoth card. Let's see. So they can go after the baby mammoth, which we're not going to be able to do because we only have 1 of the spears. So we could attempt to help these guys, which we may as well go ahead and try to help them because why not? So the baby mammoth here, since we can't complete it, we're going to go ahead and discard it. And then the solitary wolf. we actually have to have one eye symbol, then discard one of our food, then lose 2 cards and exile this card to gain a wolf. The wolf tokens are great because they actually give you a permanent eye, which is really, really nice. So yeah, we're gonna go and do that. We're gonna do that. So they're gonna get an eye that gives them 3 potential eyes. We're gonna have to lose 1 food, which we're doing okay. We still have 3, 6, 9, 10. We have 10 food still, so we have enough still for everybody. So then we're gonna exile this card, and now they have to lose 2 cards off the top. So they didn't lose a red card, thankfully. So they don't have to take an additional wound on top of that. So that's happened, and now we have a wolf. That's really cool. So let's see. We have another Mammoth card and a Mountain card for Group 2, or for Player 2. Let's see. Ooh, they found the abandoned cave, but yay! They actually have what they need. So here, if they have a torch, they can exile this card to discover something, or they take a wound. Well, I think this is a great time for them to go ahead and take their torch and discard it back over there. So that way we can exile this card. And then we're going to take the top card here off the inventions, flip it over, and ooh, we got the hatchet. So the hatchet is really awesome. So it gives us a wood, and for 1 wood and 1 stone, we can create the hatchet. The hatchet gives us a spear symbol and a build symbol, which is really, really good. That's awesome. I love that. So that guy's going to go up there, and then we can take the hatchets, which are right here, and we can place them here in the handy dandy holder, just so we know that, hey, there they are. They're part of the game now. Now we have an old mammoth here that there was no way we were going to be able to kill because it's going to take 5 spears to kill it, but it would give us 4 food and one of those ever elusive cave painting pieces. So we want to try to get up to 5 spears if we can, so that way we can hunt this bad boy on another day. Now we're going to have something interesting coming up on this next turn because we have a dream card and we have another river mammoth card. Let's see. Okay, so the dream card is foreign hunters. Now, over here at the injured mammoth, this guy takes 6 spears. He would also give us a cave painting and 5 food. That's crazy good. And 2 furs. Awesome. But we can't do anything. So the injured mammoth is going to hurt us because this is an obstacle. So if we can't do it, we actually have to take a wound. Thankfully, we have Mr. Guardian over here. He can get trampled and the rest can be fine. Like, the hunter and inventor are like, nah, throw Big Tony out there. Big Tony can take it. So that's going to have to happen here. So we will give Big Tony, I guess that's his canonical name now, a wound, and we will have to simply discard this guy to our face-up pile. Then the foreign hunters here, we have to make a big choice. Now, I already know what this card is, but we're going to just go ahead and pretend like this is the first time that I've ever played this game. So we're going to go ahead and say like, nah. This sounds really cool. I want to spend the food and exile this card to see what happens. So I'm going to spend the food, exile this card, and then I gain card number 1 and flip it over. So card number 1, haha! So we gain the Hungry Hunter. So we add this to our group. So this card is not in green, so they don't actually eat, okay? But this card, if we use their bonus of +2 spears, they are going to, whenever we get food, we would actually get 2 fewer food. So that kind of hurts, but at the same time, that can really help us get to that 5 and 6 spears that we need to go after the bigger game. So I'm not too mad about that one, not too bad about that one. We're looking a little low here on food, so we probably want to try to get some food again. But let's see, these guys have yet another mammoth card and another at home. So let's see. So the bull mammoth, again, he takes 8. There's nothing we can do because we can't do anything for 8. So that's not going to happen, sadly. But they could actually use the assist action to help them at home. Since we actually have 1 hammer, we can go ahead and, as one big group, discover another technology. That's what we're going to have to do because we don't have any wood or stone or any furs or anything else that we need to build any other technology. So we're going to make this technology instead. And we made rope. Okay, rope. For 1 wood, we can make rope. As you saw, rope is really good because it's a disposable thing, but it can be one of any of the skill symbols, which is really nice. So we'll go ahead and get rid of that at home, and then we will add rope up here, which I now cleared up a rope, so you can put all 3 of those tokens up there. Kind of bad at putting these in. For some reason, I always put them in like the wrong way. Hey, there we go. And let me. All right, cool. So, sadly, we're going to have an obstacle here, and then we have a mountain here. So let's see what happens. Okay, so we're lost. Okay, if we have one eye, which we could discard this guy, and 2 cards to add a dream card over here, or we have to take a wound. So I'll think about that one for a second. We need 3 spears in order to kill this guy, which means we would actually need to use our hungry hunters, but then we'd get 2 fewer food, which means we'd get no food at all. I don't think that's good. I don't think it's worth it just to get the one fur. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to skip the mountain goat, and they're actually going to use the assist action here on the bottom of the mountain goat card to help them because they're lost. Now they actually do have 2 of the eye symbols, so we're going to be able to meet that, and then they can discard 2 cards, which they will, 1, 2, on top of the deck, and that means they're going to get to place a dream card on top of the deck. Very nice. So we know we may not dream the dream tonight, but we will have a dream tomorrow, or we have the potential to have a dream tomorrow. But sadly, this guy, he stays. He does not have that was not to exile him. As you can see here, he has no exile thing. It's simply just the ability. So he has to be discarded as normal. So we could keep running into that guy, which, I mean, could give us a lot of dream cards, but I don't like having to do that. But we'll see. So it's going to be another mountain and another river. Ooh, okay. So, okay. We found the scree pile and we found a trapped wild boar. Now, the scree pile could give us stones, which we could really use, but the trapped wild boar needs an eye symbol, and these guys, if they want to do it, would have to discard this eye symbol, while these guys would have to discard 2 cards for 1 stone. You know what? I live by the phrase, risk it for the biscuit, so we're going to do both of these actions this time. So we are going to go ahead and do Group 1's action. We're going to discard this torch in order to give us the eye symbol, so we meet the eye symbol and the hammer symbol. Now we're going to discard 2 cards, which means we're going to have to take a wound, because one of those cards is a obstacle card. So we'll take a wound. But we're going to gain 2 food, and we're going to gain a fur. Now, my understanding of the rules is you do the action first, then you have to take the, then you gain the rewards. So I actually couldn't use this fur to mitigate that damage because I get the fur after the action. That is my interpretation of it. I believe that's the correct way, but if I'm wrong, please call me out on any rules that I make a mistake on here. I've only played the game like 15, 20 times, so I should know how to play by now. But, oh, and sorry, this guy is exiled from the game, so he is gone. Now, over here at the scree pile, they don't have any hammers, sadly. They don't know how to hammer in the morning or the evening. So we are going to go ahead and get rid of these 2 cards, which is going to be another at-home card and a forest card. But that is going to give us our first stone of the game. Yay! So that guy will be discarded. And now we have an at-home and we have a rock. Now, if you notice, Group 2 is running out of cards. They only have 4 cards left. Like, that's not good. And when they get to these trap cards, they can be like, I don't know. Over here, though, Group 1, they still got quite a few cards. So, as you notice, you know, play can be a little lopsided depending on the actions that you take. Like, if you take if you're assisting a lot of people, you won't be losing a lot of cards, which could leave you on your lonesome at the end to do actions by yourself if you can. But you can also retire at any time. So if you feel like, it's too dangerous, I'm going to go ahead and go home. I'm going home and going to sleep. Okay. But for right now, we're going to continue. And we're going to have an at-home and a mountain and another scree pile. I don't think that scree pile is going to be worth doing. So at this point, I can make 2 items. But we only have room for 1. But how about this? We're going to have these guys actually assist them at home. We're going to make we're going to use 1 stone, and we're going to make 1 of these sharpened rocks. And we split the reward evenly as we can, but since it's odd, we're going to go and give that one rock to this group over here as they don't have any. Or actually, I think it'd be smarter to give it to them because we need 2 to make the tents. And while we haven't been really finding wood, we still need that. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to We're going to wait on that. We're going to give them the extra one after all, and they're just going to kind of lose their action because they don't want to take 2 damage, because at this point that would put them at near death's door for both of them. So they're going to go ahead and go home, and I think these guys are going to go ahead and retire, because with 2 obstacle cards in a row, I don't think they really want to risk that. So they're just going to go ahead and go home, and they're going to wait to see what happens with group 1. So for the rest of this day, we're going to go ahead and go with group 1. So let's see. In the underbrush, we could discard one card for 1 food, or 2 cards for a wood. So we wouldn't take any damage to do this, and we're kind of don't have a whole lot, but it seems like we're okay on food. So let's go ahead and get rid of 2 cards, and let's get ourselves a wood. Very nice. Now let's see what happens in the river. The river, we meet a deer. So now if you notice, this guy should be easy for us to kill, because look, he only needs two spears and he only needs 1 eyeball. But well, these guys are at home already, so they can't help us anymore. You can only ever assist if you have the assist action on your card. Well, these guys don't have 2 spears on their own or the eye, so that deer just bounds in the forest and gets away. Nothing we can do about it. We just have to ignore the card for now. So we're going to go into the mountains and see what happens. Oh no, we have a rock fall. Okay, sadly, this is going to be one of those scenarios where we don't have 2 eyes. If this had happened to group 2, they'd be fine, but we're going to have to take 1 damage. We could get rid of this guy, but I think we're still okay for now, so we will go ahead and just beat up Big Tony again. Sorry, Big Tony, just rocks are falling, but nobody dies, all because of you. Now, we have 3 cards left, and our first card is an obstacle card. Now, typically, this is a great time for you to stop. Simply for the fact that without their help, I can't do a whole lot. I only have 1 spear. I have 2 of these hammer symbols, no eye symbols. So this would be a great time for me to go ahead and retire. Now, I could push on, because some of these obstacle cards will give you really good rewards, but for me, right now, this early in the game, the risk is not worth the reward, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to retire as well. All right, so we've gone home. We're now sitting around the campfire, we're eating, we're exchanging stories about our day, and we're getting prepared for tomorrow. So we have to look over here at the board, and when it's night, we always have to do this first. So right now, we have to feed all of our people. So we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Remember, these guys, they're not green, they're the blue background, so they won't eat food at night, but they'll steal food whenever we use their ability. So basically, it's like we pay 2 food to use their ability whenever we want to use their ability, okay? So we don't have to worry about feeding them, so that's going to be 5 food gone. So that's 3, 4, 5. Now we look over here. I should actually have these like this, A and B. So we look at A. A, we have to get rid of 3 food, which we can. And we have to get rid of 1 of these furs. Now, if we didn't have the furs, we want to get rid of the food. We'd just keep the food because we're going to take a skull anyway. No point in spending the food. But since we have 2 of these, and we have Mr. Mitigation over here, but he's getting kind of hurt, we're going to go ahead and get rid of this one, all right? Because we don't want to take a skull just yet, because we're about to take 1. Now, we fed everybody. We completed bountiful prey. But here in a new world, we don't have a tent. We didn't find one. We weren't able to build one. So we get one of the dreaded skulls, and we have to add that to our board. So we're now 1/5 of the way closer to losing the game, but no closer to winning it. And it's actually going to get a little harder for us to feed our people, because as you see, when we exile cards, those cards are no longer in the deck, which means easy prey and stuff like that is nowhere to be found. So it gets harder and harder. It's like an internal clock that the game has to prevent, to help the game end, okay? So we would actually prepare for the next round. So we'd take these and we'd shuffle them up. And I'm going to do that real quick. Now, I had my cards sleeved, but the glare was insane. Like, you couldn't read the cards at all. So I had to unsleeve everything. But this is a game that I would highly suggest sleeving your cards. Because you shuffle and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle and shuffle, and you will destroy and damage the cards very quickly. So I would highly recommend getting yourself some sleeves for these. They are the American Chimera size, I believe. Don't quote me on that. I've been known to be wrong once or twice in my life. All right, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to do another cut. I always cut twice, so we cut there, and then we're going to cut there. Okay, so now we would deal the cards out. One. Riveting, right? Is the best part of the game right here. And you get to see all the dangers and everything else that are coming for you. That's just amazing. Now, if you notice, we added a couple dream cards, and this, player one is going to have an extra card. So he has an extra card there. You're going to just try to do it as equally as possible. Okay. So that's pretty much the game. Okay. Now that may seem simplistic, but there are other things that can happen. There are a bunch of other tools that you can get. For instance, like medicine can heal 3 wounds. You can get the raft. The raft is for a particular scenario. You can get pit traps that you can discard to add more spears. You can get this headdress, which I don't know how it gives you 2 extra, eyes, or scouting, or I'm not sure what that symbol is off the top of my head, or what it means, what the book reason is off the top of my head. But I mean, it gives you 2 of those, which is really nice. I don't know why it would, because just it's on top of your head. But that is pretty much how Paleo plays. Okay, let me go ahead and do this real fast. Oh no. Oh no. Okay, I remembered it. Okay, cool. Alright, so that's pretty much the game, okay? It is completely cooperative. It does play very quickly. You're looking at most games lasting between 30 and 45 minutes. It can be fairly tough to complete the game, as you saw. Like now we're down to just 3 food. We've basically collectively used 2 food over what we started with, and that's with an entire round of killing animals. I mean, we did 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Well, we removed 6 good cards out of our deck already. So already that's kind of like, and we didn't have a single one that allowed us to gain one of the cave paintings. But yeah, that's pretty much it. There are some other interactions that are explained better in the book. One of the things that I do like, give me one sec. So this does what I like. One of the few things that I really like about Fantasy Flight games is they always have their Learn to Play book and then their regular rule book. Love that. I wish more companies did that. This one actually comes with the supplement book. Don't know if you can see that with all the glare, but the supplement book will come with all the various what the various secret cards do, what the modules are. So let me see, we got A through J. Hey, I was right the first time. It is 10. So there are 10 different modules, but you can add them together to create new ones. So like in this one, it goes from level 1 to level 7. So like in level 1 you add A and B, but level 6 you add B and I, and then creating your own levels. You can combine them however you like, as it shows you here. But this is really cool because it gets more into the other rules that you'll see coming up for just specific scenarios. So you don't really need that here in the main book. So it's really nice to have this. When you really learn the game, the game, this supplement's really all that you're going to need as you play through. The rulebook is very well laid out. It's got lots and lots of examples. The pictures are nice and big. There's plenty of examples for these. Like for instance, that big yellow area, like that shows you that it's important. Like it says, do not play your first game with 4 groups. If you're playing with 4 players, 2 players should control a single group jointly, so that there are only 3 groups max. Paleo is a cooperative game, so all the players are always on the same team. In any case, you should play 4 groups only once most of the players are familiar with the game. So I subjected my friends to having to not being able to do that, because we play lots of games, and we did get our brains beat in a bit, but we did very well still. I got no issues here with the rulebook, none at all. The game itself is fairly easy to teach. I mean, like I said, it's got lots and lots of examples of play, which is really cool. So you can just read through and be like, oh, okay, I understand. Like that's interesting. I am impressed. I have been impressed with Paleo since we actually got it in the store not too long ago. Well, actually, It was about 5-6 months ago since we got it. We got a few copies in. I was lucky enough to get a copy of my own, which is really good because we haven't been able to get it back in store since. We are attempting to do so, but now that it's won the Kennerspiel De Jahres, it's going to become a bit harder to get it in store. But this is definitely a game I'd be on the lookout for. Believe it or not, this is actually a game that I play with my two daughters, 8 and 10. Now that may sound kind of weird, like, there's no way, can they really play this? Like, well, yeah, it's a cooperative game. It's a lot of joint decisions. We'll listen to what they want to do, and then we give them advice on what we're going to do, and then we all come to a collective decision together, and we play the game. We've actually done very well with the game, and we've completed the first 5 adventures so far. Taken a lot of playthroughs to get through some of those, but we have completed the first 5. I don't know if we're going to be able to do 6 and 7 because those are pretty tough, but we'll see how it goes in the future. This is a game that you can teach pretty much anybody how to play because it's completely language independent for the most part. I mean, you'll have rules like here on the bottom that you have to read, but I mean, for the most part, it's literally just the symbols. It's just the symbols on the cards. So once you learn the iconography of the game, then hey, no problems at all. Like I know what that symbol means. I can play. Don't have to keep dipping my head into the rule book because most of the rules and most of the way the interactions are very, very self-explanatory. So you don't need to get too deep into that, which is a big plus, especially for someone like me who I don't like having. I read enough rule books. I don't like to have my head in a rule book as often as much as possible. So overall, I'll go through my criteria that I typically do. I don't have it set up today, sadly, so you guys don't get the little infographics because I'll be doing a lot of other stuff today. But I always do this for actually, I think I can pull this up. I can do. Components, yeah, I can do, let's see if that comes up, and people are talking to me. Cool, yeah, you can't really see that because of that, sorry, it's a bit bright, but components and art for the game are top-notch. I wish the cardboard on some of these was just a little bit thicker. I wish the holes in this thing were just a little bit wider. But literally everything I come up with is just nitpicks to the nth degree. Like there's nothing wrong with any of the components the way that they are. Nothing is just too thin. Nothing is completely unusable. They didn't do the one thing that I was really worried about is give us like paper ones. Like these are actual cardboard. They're thick and chunky. I like that. I like the linen finish on the cards. I like that. The cards are good quality, though, again, I would sleeve them because of how much shuffling you have to do. I like it. They give you a lot of bags in the box, so that way you can organize all your stuff, which is really cool. This is a game I think I'm going to end up having to get an organizer for. I think it'll just make my life easier. I wish, again, it's a nitpick, but I wish the box was just a little bit taller so I could stack the cards like, sideways. But again, it's a nitpick. That's all I would have is nitpicks for the arts, for the component quality and the art, which is why I give it an A. It's not spectacular, it's not deficient in any way, but it does what it needs to do, and things like this that they didn't need to add just help out. Like this is simply just for the exiled cards. They could have just said, put them aside. They didn't need to make this, and this cost money. Like this took resources and time and effort to make and produce. I really appreciate that. Same thing, this guy here is, I gotta remove that part, but this guy is 3D, this 3D holder, just so everybody can see what's on the table. They didn't have to do that, It can hold the tiles and the cards. They didn't have to do that. They could have literally just said, put them on the side, and that's all you need to do. But hey, like, to Z-Man's credit, they put in the effort. They put their money into the game, and they wanted to really make these components shine, and it shows, and it really helps, and it increases the enjoyment of the game because the components are good. Looking at the fun and replayability, I'm sorry, next is, sorry, don't mean to be freaking you all out, but Next is the rules and the teach. Again, pretty simple to teach. Once one person knows how to play the game, they can teach everybody pretty easily. I just introduced this to my group of to a brand new group of friends. Well, not brand new friends, but a brand new to the game friend. You know what I mean. But they hadn't played the game before, and I was able to teach them in like 10 minutes. And then we played the game. We lost a bunch. We had a great time. And we played the game well. Like we made really good decisions. We had some bad luck, which can be a big part of this game. I mean, it is RNG because it's cards. You know, it's shuffled cards. So RNG can play a big factor in this, which some people won't like. I've heard a lot of people tell me that they don't like Pandemic's difficulty because it comes from just the order of the cards and really nothing else. I don't really have a problem with that, but if you do, be aware that that is where most of the difficulty of the game comes in. If you could plan out every turn perfectly, you'd never lose the game, but of course, in a perfect world, everything always goes perfectly. But that is something. If you don't like a Pandemic style of the randomness of the cards, this one may not be up your alley. You may prefer something more like Robinson Crusoe, which still uses cards but not as much, or Spirit Island or something like that. But those are much more complex. So yeah, rules. As I said, the rulebook is well laid out. It was a pleasure to read it. It wasn't hard to pick up. I'm really thankful. Z-Man is. You guys got it. You know what you're doing when it comes to making games and making rule books, and it shows because of the effort that you put in. And that becomes very appreciated from a guy who reads 5 to 6 new board game rule books a week. So, kudos. Thank you so much. So, Rules and the Teach, I'd give this one an A+. A+ for Rules and the Teach. Very, very simple, very straightforward. I love it. And everybody gets the idea of like, well, why do we need food? Well, of course, to eat. Like, well, why do I need spears to kill this? Well, you know why, because you need spears. It takes hammers to make stuff. It takes eyes to see stuff, you know, like, that makes sense. Everything is logical, so it's very easy to pick up on. Then the last thing I always talk about is the fun and replay value, or replayability. So fun, of course, is subjective. I'll talk about that last. So we'll go with replayability first. It's got a lot of replayability. Not just the fact that you're going to lose a lot, so you want to replay those until you win, which is my suggestion to you. Do not play this game just to move on to the other modules. Well, I want to see what's next. No. Take the time to actually win a scenario and then move on to the next one. You get a much better feeling of that, because if there's a lot of surprises in there, and losing at this game kind of makes you better at it. It's kind of weird like that. Like, you learn what to expect. You learn, what's on the cards. You can better predict what's going to happen to you. You can better predict what layouts you need and things like that. Like, true, your starting survivors are random, but you can always work with what you have, and you can tinker around with that, which is good. So I would recommend playing them in order as the game suggests, and then even after that, you create your own scenarios. And on Board Game Geek, there's a lot of fan-created scenarios for really good shakeups of the rules and very good combinations of the various modules together to create some very, very good games. So replayability is through the roof on this one. Most non-board gamers will play games, a few times, and I've heard so many people tell me like, oh, I've played Monopoly like 100 times. And it's like, have you really though? Or have you played it like 4 times and the other like 8 or 9 times you played it, you quit after a few turns? Like, let's be serious here. If you pick this game up, you're getting a game that's going to give you a ton of replayability. You're going to have a lot of content to get through in this box, as long as you don't jump around. Which is something that I don't do. So I've been able to, like I said, I've got 15-20 plays on this one already. I really enjoy it. I really like it. It's helped me reach my H index this year. I'm shooting for an H index of 7, and I've already hit it, which is good because it's already freaking August. Oh my God. But that's good. So yeah, replayability through the roof. When it comes to fun, now again, fun is super subjective. I try to look at it as objectively as I can. If you like survival games, if you like games that are going to kick you in the butt and make you think without the rules being the driving force of it. It's mainly the decisions inform the gameplay, not the rules informing every round of gameplay. If you like games like that, this is going to be your game. If you have alpha gamer syndrome, then that can rear its ugly head in this game. So you could have one person that's like, no, we need to do this, we need to do that. Like, no, I just like, no, what is your people going to do? Look, I need this. If you help me, I can do it. But if you want to do yours, do yours. Alpha is, as long as you don't have, someone who wants to just take over the entire game, then I think there's a lot of fun to be had here. This game has a lot going for it. I love survival games. I love quick games. I love games that I can play in between other games. I have games that when I lose, I immediately have that feeling of like, all right, I lost, but let's go again. Let's do it, I love games that do that, and this one has that in spades. The last time I sat down and played it, I played it 3 times in a row. So, I mean, pretty much every time I played it, even if I win right away, I still want to play it again right afterwards. So this, for me, definitely for replayability and fun factor, this one is going to get an A as well. The only reason it doesn't get an A plus is I do think there are better cooperative games out there. I'd put this one right up there with Pandemic. I think Pandemic has a bit more replayability, just the way that the game is designed. So it's one of those. It's an alternative to Pandemic. It's not an alternative to Robinson Crusoe. It's not an alternative to Kingdom Death. It's not an alternative to Spirit Island. But if you've played Pandemic to death like I have, then I would definitely have this on your list. Overall, I would give the game a solid A. Like right across the board, an A. I don't think it does anything to reinvent the wheel when it comes to cooperative games, but it does take a much more complex cooperative game like Robinson Crusoe and turn it into a much simpler format that you could play with anybody. Because Robinson Crusoe is not a game I can play with anybody. I got a few select people I can play with that, and I love that game to death. It is one of my favorite games. But I have a lot easier time getting this one to the table. So I get to play it a lot more. So, it's tit for tat. Overall, absolutely would recommend this game for your collection if you have an interest in cooperative games, or if you want to dip your toes in the cooperative space and you can find a copy, I would definitely recommend picking this one up. Okay, let me take a quick drinky poo. All right, so for now, what's going to be happening today? Okay, no comments, good. So what's going to be happening for today is after I finish with this video, I'm going to be going directly into another video here after I do some setup. So be prepared for that. So the reason that we're doing it like this is I suck at editing, apparently. I'm not very good at it. I tend to try to do long takes and stuff like that, and then I realize I made a mistake like 5 minutes in, and I have to go back and fix it. And I just decided that I'm going to be doing it like this from now on. So when you see, I'm sorry if you get a notification for a video coming out at an odd time. Don't bother watching live if you can't. We appreciate the live views, but just keep it in the back of your mind like, hey, Dyson Dudes has got another video out and they're talking about something that I want. And we haven't been able to do a whole lot of board game content outside of Kingdom Death for a while, so I will have another video coming your way here in just a minute. So stay tuned for that. If you do like the content, and I should have said this at the top of the video, I'll say it at the top of the next one. If you do like the content, please like and subscribe. Please leave a comment. Tell us what you like about it. Tell us how you feel about it. Thank you guys so much. We've actually gotten some more subscribers again. We want to try to hit 200 subscribers before the year is out. That is our goal. So come January 31st. So come January 31st, we want to be at 200 subscribers, and you can help us do that. Tell your family, tell your friends, share it on your Facebook. Let them know, like, hey, it's El Paso's, board game place from El Paso, affiliated with Game Vault. If you love Game Vault and you love board games, definitely give us a like and a follow. If you prefer Twitch, we are on Twitch as well. Please follow us there. If you have Twitch Prime, the free Twitch Prime subscription. Throw that our way if you feel like it. The shekels we get from that really helps. If you really like the content, and if you really like the content, we ask that you do subscribe. $5 does go a long way for us, so that we can get more lights, new cameras, new microphones, all that good stuff. Yeah. That's going to go ahead and do it for this video of Paleo. I hope you guys enjoyed it, and I will be seeing you shortly when I set up for the next game. We'll see you in a bit.